Welcome to this demo video of Missouri Rural Water Association's Small Utility Billing Software Program, or SUBS for short. We're going to go over some of the basic requirements of the program and features, and then show an actual online demo that was done for a system that was interested in using the software. Hopefully it will answer your questions, and if you need further information, feel free to contact Missouri Rural Water Association and talk with Valarie or Darla. The SUBS program was developed by Missouri Rural Water Association several years ago for use by very small utilities who needed an affordable option for billing. The software is owned by Missouri Rural Water Association and is made available to member systems at a reasonable subscription fee that is assessed annually. The program can accommodate up to 1,000 active utility accounts. It does bills for water, sewer, trash. It also calculates sales taxes and fees, such as the primacy fee and the wastewater fee that is required of Missouri utilities. It allows you to set up different types of rates. You can set up flat rates, tiered rates. It allows for winter averaging of sewer use for sewer bills. It does have email and texting capabilities for customers. They can sign up to get their bills via email or text, or the utility has the capability to send out general correspondence via email or text for those customers who have signed up for that service. We do have a couple of options here for online bill payment so that customers can pay using credit, debit cards, and other forms of payment. Customers are able to set up their own accounts to get into the information concerning their utility bill. They can view their bills, they can look at their historical use, they can look at their history, etc., and pay online all through their account. SUBS is a web-based program. Because it is a web-based program, there's no need to back up data. That is automatically done in the cloud. You can access SUBS from any computer, anywhere, as long as you are connected to the internet. SUBS runs on most operating systems. That includes Edge, Google, Firefox, etc. It prints bills on postcard size cardstock, which is available through Missouri Rural Water Association at cost. SUBS is accessible using a username and password for those employees who need access to the program. There's no limit on how many users can be signed up for the program. So it can be one if you're the only person dealing with the billing, or you can sign up for 3 or 4. It doesn't matter. Each user will have their own unique username and password. We recommend that you don't have a lot of people signed up because of security purposes. Okay. SUBS is compatible with a lot of electronic metering systems. We have those integrations already set up. So if you have, electronic meter reading, we probably have the integration set up. If not, we will work with you to set up an integration along with your metering software company. There's no extra charge for that. Right now, the cost for using SUBS is an annual subscription of $400 a year. The subscription provides for unlimited tech support and software upgrades at no additional cost. And technical assistance is provided by MRWA staff. We do not outsource that. So when you call with a problem, you're going to get a staff member of MRWA. In order to be able to subscribe and use SUBS, you must be a utility member of Missouri Rural Water Association. So what follows is an online demo that was given by Valarie and Darla that will show you how the program works and answer a lot of your questions.
This is what your home screen would look like if you decided to go with SUBS for us, okay? Go with us with SUBS. So It basically tells you right there on the home screen how many active accounts you have. And then here are your 4 hot buttons that we feel like you use more often than not. Okay. I think maybe these may change as we get to where we're seeing what people are using and what they're not. But these are 4 good ones for right now, just to have that home screen to where it's easily accessible. This is the main one I think that you use. I'm I'm gonna switch it up today and we're gonna start with going over the system settings. So this is the stuff that you would do very first out the door if you started with us. Okay. So the very first thing you would do is we would put in your company information, your billing information. I'm going to go ahead and point out this enable billing. The first time that when I set up the company, I take the enable billing off. So your very first time that you create bills, you have to ask me permissions to basically
Okay.
create your bills. And that just makes me go in and I look at your bills, or Darla. Okay. We go in, we look at your bills, we take a look and make sure you don't have anything crazy going on. That way you're not creating something wrong just because you think, what else am I supposed to do? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. We found that some of our clerks are really good about saying, hey, come help me with my first set of billing. And some clerks are like, no, I got it. And so it just, when I turn that enable billing on, it's me saying, yep, you got it, girl. You don't need me. Okay.
Perfect. Mm-hmm.
It looks like Darla, she just sent me a text and says she thinks she's got it. Darla, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear
And
me?
we can hear you.
Yes.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know, but you figured it out. Good job. All right, so then here is our billing address. Okay, that's where your bills are going to be returned back to. And then your due date, and whether you want that due date to be a floating due date. What a floating due date means that is if the 15th happens to fall on a weekend or a US holiday, your bills will say that they're not due until the next business day after that. Okay. So if the 15th falls on Sunday and Monday is the 16th, your bills won't actually be due until the 16th if you turn that floating due date on. Some systems really like that. Some systems say, no, I'm only here one day a week. I want the bill to be due when the bill's due. And then, it is what it is. So you have that choice for you. Your bulk
Awesome.
mailing permit, if you're big enough and you have a bulk mailing permit, we'll put your bulk mailing permit number in so that that prints on your bills and you don't have the stamp here. Okay. And then your
Mm-hmm.
front of the bill and back of the bill notes. You make those say whatever you'd like those to say. You have a little tiny one on the front of the bill, and then you have the entire back of the postcard to put whatever kind of notes you would like.
Awesome.
Readings, if you do winter averaging, you will turn that on. You will pick the months that you winter average. So a lot of people are, you know, December, February, December, January, January, February, March, whatever the case may be. You will pick those months, okay? And then the effective month that they're going to take place in, and the system will automatically winter average for you. The input
Awesome.
warning is when it's 20% over what their normal should be, it will turn red for you. The bigger number you make that, the less you will see, right? So, if it's 50% more than their normal, you will have few of those that turn red. I say probably 30% is a good solid number, but this one likes to see 20 and there's nothing wrong with that. Meter
All right.
automated systems. These are the electronic meters that we already have a pre-done interface built for. So we've got Badger Beacon, Capstone, Harmony, Camstruck, Mueller, Neptune, RG3, Census, Stealth, and Zenner. So these are the big companies that we already know about. And we have meter interfaces built so that if you have electronic meters in the ground, we can transfer files with them. Okay. Because it's 2.0, I'm still fine tuning a couple of these. But to speak of, I would say most of them work pretty well at this time. Okay. Um, If you have a different metering company that we don't have a pre-done interface with, that's okay. If it's somebody you want to do business with, it's somebody that we want to do business with. So we'll be glad to build that interface. Just know that it does take a little bit extra time. There is no extra cost. It just takes a little bit of extra time between us and the metering software company to get that built for you. Okay. Notifications. You will turn this on if you would like your customers to be able to receive email or text message notifications. If I'm being honest, I don't know why anybody would turn it off in this day and age, but I guess you have that choice. Okay. Late
A lot of people ask
assessments.
about that. So that'd be
Oh,
handy.
yes, it is very, very handy. If yes. Late assessments. So if you turn on late assessments, it will automatically on the 15th of the month or whatever date you choose, it will automatically apply those late fees for you on the first hour of the day. So around 1 a.m. in the morning, it will automatically do your late fees. Now, this particular system has it turned off because they want to come into the office and they want to put in anybody that they got in their night deposit box, and they want to say, okay, assess my late fees now. She wants to press this button and say, now is when I want those late fees to hit. Okay. You have that choice. You
Okay.
can do that however you wish. All right. The same thing with the late fees as a percentage. So if you have it turned on, it's going to be a percentage. If yours is a flat fee, you turn it off and then you can put in that dollar amount. Okay. So again, just totally for you. So here is our delinquency letter template. Now you can see that this city they've just left the template that's out here for them. You will change this to say whatever you want. Okay. This is just something that is a letter template that it automatically puts this specific information in from your account. So honestly, right now, if I were a clerk, I would have changed my delinquency notice template for a month and I would have put my lead service inventory out there for the month, my letter that I sent to all my customers to try to get their inventory, or I would have sent my notification for anybody who needed notification. Okay. I would put that all into this template and I would save it. And then I would have had the system send those notices out for me. Okay. Just because it does all of this for you and it's super easy to work with. Okay. But you change that to make it whatever you want. We will be glad to give you our late fee shut off information out there. Like that's what when we designed it, that's what it was designed for. It just turns out that after this lead service Bologna happened, we found that this notice could be used for all kinds of really handy things. Okay. Um, and then we're going to talk about fees. So here is where you'll go to set up your individual fees that are for your customers. Okay. So in this instance, they have their sales tax, their weekend reconnect, their weekday reconnect, their primacy fee, their business sales tax, and then their sewer connection fee, which they call DSF. You will set those up as you do business. So in this instance, this is their sewer connection fee. They charge that 80 cents annually, and they have that apply to the bill in July. You will put it in one time. You will never look at it again. When you go to make your bills in July, it'll automatically put on your bill in July. I know a lot of the other companies, you have to go in and you have to turn it on and then you turn it back off. Ours, you don't. You just tell it the month that you want it to be there and you move on. Okay.
That is great.
Sales tax is the same. Once you choose tax, it's going to make a percentage spot for you to put your sales tax in. You will link those to the accounts as necessary. Okay. And we'll talk about that over when we get into the accounts. Rates. So in this particular, you see that they have 15 different rate codes. Okay. You can have as many of these rate codes as you need. So the system that I came from, we had a lot of rate codes. We charged a different rate for in town versus out of town. We charged a different rate per apartment complex. So depending on how many units you had, We charged a different rate for different trash services. So you had the residential trash, and then you had the people who had dumpsters. And when they had this size of dumpster versus that size of dumpster, or if they had 2 trash cans or 3 trash cans. So we had all kinds of rates, okay? And you can too. There's no reason that you can't. We're going to go in and take a look at like more of a common one. So this is their residential water rate. So the description just says water, the service is water. They round to the nearest 10 gallons. Their price is $19.63 for the first gallon of water. Most places it's the first 1,000, but we like the places that's just the first gallon, okay? And then after that, it's $2.21 per 1,000 gallons. Now, again, they don't bill $2.21 per 1,000 gallons because they bill it to 10 gallons. Okay. So it's really whatever that is, 0.022 per 10 gallons. Okay. If you have another tier after that, so maybe that's your tier for the first 50,000 gallons, and after that, your rate goes down or goes up or whatever the case may be, you'll just add another tier. Okay, so you just add another one and you say, okay, now it's $1.38 per 1,000 gallons for any after 50,000 gallons. Okay. And you would do the same thing for sewer. All right. It looks like this specific city doesn't bill sewer, or maybe they do. Maybe I'm just not back far enough. No, I don't see it. But they do have several trash. Okay. So, and then those you just choose flat rate, and there's the price of it. Okay.
All right.
Payments. So in payments, you have the choice of 2 credit card software companies. Port Money is who we used on a pretty regular basis in Subs 1.0. We love them. They're fabulous. Stripe is who we are using more often in Subs 2.0. And the reason is Stripe has decided to take payments from credit, debit, ACH, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Apple Pay, all the ways that this younger generation of people like to pay. We have found that we don't really care how you pay, we just want your money. So
Correct.
we went with Stripe because we wanted to have that additional places that we could basically get their money from. Okay. So you just tell me which credit card processing company that you have or that you would like to have. Or if you have your own credit card processing company, that is also fine. You can stay with your old company. It just won't interface with ours. You'll just have to take your report from your old credit card processing company and put those in manually. Okay. With either one of these companies, when the customer pays their account, it will automatically land on their account and their account will be paid. Okay.
Perfect.
On the system data, so there's like really 2 buttons here that you're going to use. The first one would be the import accounts. So we don't actually let you import your own accounts because it's kind of persnickety on how it wants to see that information. So what you'll do is if your old system has a way to give us an Excel file with all your customer data, you will get that file and you will then send that via email to me or Darla. We will then take a look at that file and we'll get it put in the order that our system wants to see it, and then we'll upload your customers for you. It really takes about 7 minutes to bring all of your customers in if you give me a good, clean, nice file. If you don't have a way in your old system to export out of an Excel file, you do have to manually key all of your customers. It is time consuming and it is daunting. We'll be glad to come and help if that's what we're stuck with. Okay, we'll be glad to come and help you do that. There's 2 really things about it. It is time consuming, it is daunting, and you feel like it's never going to end. It does give you a really good feel for exactly how the system works. So if you have to do it, you know what? It really you got your hands in there and you learn the system really quickly, right? The other thing that
Mm-hmm.
we have is the export accounts. So the export accounts is what, when we designed it really more for if you ever decided that you didn't love us and you wanted to divorce us, here's an export of all your accounts so that you could take that to a new software company and you would be able to have all of your customer data. We haven't found it being useful in that aspect. Basically, I'm proud to say people don't like to divorce us. Yay.
That is a very good thing. Big
But
accomplishment.
it has come in very, very handy for mailing labels. Again, when people had this lead service inventory and they didn't use their delinquency letter like I would have used, they wanted to have mailing labels printed. Our system doesn't have a spot that says, here's your mailing labels, just print them. So what you would do is you would export your accounts out to Excel and then you would do a mail merge into Microsoft Word.
All right.
If you ever need that, by all means, give me a call. I will walk you through it the first time. It actually takes me longer to walk you through it than it does for me to say, I've already emailed you your mailing labels. Okay, they're in your email.
Here you go.
But I have no problem doing it either way, or even showing you how to use that delinquency letter for whatever it is that you're wanting to send out to your customers because it is so, so handy. Okay. So now
Mm-hmm.
that we've kind of talked about all of the ways that you would have to set up your accounts, now let's take a look at what your accounts will look like once you've done that. So we're just going to go out here and we went to the little two persons. If you click these three lines up here, this expands this list so that you can read it. Okay. Otherwise, it's just the icon. So the first thing is the accounts list. So once you get to the accounts list, this is all your customers. You will notice that it only loads about 10 rows per page. The reason for that is just to keep the server at a very quick pace, okay? You can expand it to 50 if you really need to see them, but let me be honest with you, probably you're going to use the search function more than anything else. This search function is so handy. So we're going to type in Smith. That's a bad one for this account, this place, whatever. Let me try it again. Smith. Nope, nothing. Let me do Barlow. Barlow. All right, so here is Barlow. So it's going to look for anything Barlow in the last name, anything in the address, anything in the zip code. So if you go and you have really short account numbers, like 2-digit account numbers, you're going to be really sad when it's 65 and 65 happens to be in your zip code. Okay. So you'll want to add a couple of digits to your account numbers so that you can do a search by account numbers. So at this point, I'm going to do an account number and I'm just going to do 243. Okay. And that brought that account number right up. All right. So then we're just going to go in here and we're going to edit that customer. Okay. Editing it is just seeing all the information that's in that specific account. So in this specific account, you've got the account number, whether they're active, inactive, or suspended, their current balance that's outstanding, their deposit that's on file for their meter deposit, whether it's a residential account or a commercial account, and whether this account is to be due a late fee. Their first name, their last name, their email address. I want you to take note of this invite button. We're going to talk about it on another page just a little bit more, but it'll be really important to you. Then you've got two
All
spots for phone numbers, the first phone number and the second phone number. Sometimes it's two house phone numbers or a house phone number and a cell phone number, and sometimes it's husband and wife. Okay. You can use that for whatever you want. This notes section is the notes that are specifically to this customer. Okay. They're an internal note only. So it's not going to print anywhere. You can't put a note on their account that says, hey, don't forget to pay your bill. They'll never see that. That note section is more like this person is habitually late, or we've already charged them 3 times their deposit because they keep, we keep shutting them off, whatever the case may be. These notes are just for you. And then, of course, their billing address. Okay. The deposit screen is just that. This is where you collect that meter deposit for them when you start their account. And here's where you would go to apply it when they move out. Okay.
Mm.
The service address is just that. That is the address to where your meter is setting. Okay, so then you'll use the physical address to the residence on this screen. And here is where you will connect those rates that are relevant to this individual customer. So you see they've got the city water and the residential water and the apartment water. Okay. And then for sewer, they have the city sewer, the flat rate sewer, the sewer one, and the apartment sewer. Okay. And then on trash, they have the school rate, the 6-yard dumpster, the 4-yard dumpster, the 2-yard dumpster, probably three trash cans, two trash cans, one trash can, and then city trash. All right. So you'll put those rate codes in for you, and then you will connect them as fit. Okay. The
Mm-hmm.
meter reading routes, so you can have as many routes as necessary for you. Again, this kind of goes back to, do you electronically read your meters or do you have manually read them still? So if you
What was that a
electronically
question? I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. If you electronically read them, you probably wouldn't need the reading list route or the sequence, depending on which meter company that you had. But if you do manually read your meters, where your guys go around and they still manually look in those meters and read those meters, then here's where you would put the different routes and the sequence so that they go to the right houses in the right order. This meter location field is designed to be for people who specifically still know where their meters are. We want you to say that it's in the back right side of the property next to the big oak tree or whatever the case may be. Because as you go along and you would get electronic meters, you sometimes lose sight of where those meters are. My system, they got buried underground, like people would do yard work and all of a sudden the meter was just gone. Well, when you just drive by, to do drive-by meetings or cellular readings, you lose them. You don't know where your meters are anymore after so many operators have left and gone and you've had changes and whatever the case may be. So this is just a spot in the software that will tell you where that meter is. I did make that a mandatory field. So if you don't know where the meter is specifically, you'll just use that same service address in that meter location field.
Okay.
The meter data, depending on whether you have electronic meters or not, will have different information. So this specific system still hand reads their meters. So all they have is the serial number and the latitude and longitude. Okay. You'll notice that they don't have any of it filled in, but it's there for them if they choose to use it. Now, if you have census read meters, you'll have a serial number and an MIU number and the latitude and the longitude and the sequence number. And you know what I'm saying? Like there's several um, different ways, different boxes that have to be filled in per meter company based on what they would like to see. Here is
Right.
where you will connect their different taxes and fees that are specific to those accounts. So in this specific account, they're charged 80 cents a year for their sewer connection fee and $5.28 a year for their primacy fee. Now, if you have those set up as monthly fees, you can do that. And it's like, I don't know, 4 cents and 44 cents or something like that. Okay. And then the
Mm-hmm.
state, the Missouri sales tax that's for this specific residential. And then they've got their business tax set up. And since this isn't a business, they don't have that one clicked, right? So then we get to subscriptions. So subscriptions is where we're going to go back and we're going to talk about that invite button. So the subscriptions are fabulous. This is where your customers will choose whether they get notification when their bill is created by email or text message or not, or whether they get email or text message when there is general communication put out by the system. When we created this general communication, we created it in the idea of a boil advisory. So if we had a boil advisory and we wanted all of our customers to get notified, anybody who had signed up for that email or text message communication could get that alert right there on their electronic device, right? What we found after we did that was that a lot of our system used it for general communication. Why wouldn't you, right? You have this nice little text caster that goes out to all of your residents, and you can tell them things like, hey, don't forget to go vote today. Or did you know that the community is going to have a Christmas party on this day? We'd like you to come, enjoy the season for their Christmas tree lighting festival, whatever the case may be. We found that it was used for so many more things that we separated it out so that your customers would then say, yes, I want the general communication. Yes, I want the billing. Or no, maybe I only want the billing. I don't want all their spam general communication. Okay. So that's what that's for. You will be able to see these boxes, but you will not be able to click these boxes. Your customers will have to sign up for that. So what you'll do to get them to sign up for that is you will put in their email, you will send them that invitation, and then they will create that account and go in here and choose their subscriptions that they want. At the same time that they do that, they can choose paperless if they choose. Meaning if they get that bill notification via text message or email, maybe they don't want to get the paper copy. That's great, right? Save yourself some postage if you can.
Right.
So then they can take this paperless. They don't have to, right? They can say, I want to get my bill emailed, I want to get my bill text message, and I still want you to mail me my paper copy. And you are okay with that too. Now you can get to this paperless box. And the reason that you can get to that is because we found so many systems have their lagoon or their city hall or their community center or their library or their fire department, whatever it is in your city that you provide the water to, but you don't actually bill that water, right? It's kind of like a, hey, it's our water and we're giving it to us, but we're not actually going to then turn around and write ourselves a check to pay for our water. So instead, we have a zero charge, we enter a no charge water so that we track the water so we know how much the city hall is using or the maintenance shed's using or the fire department's using, but we don't actually charge for it and bill for it. Well, let's just say hypothetically, when I was the clerk, I had 5 or 6 accounts that did just that. And inevitably, at least twice in my tenure, I mailed myself a bill that was for $0. I wasted the postage and mailed myself a bill because I missed it when I was going through the stack to get it pulled out. So when we designed this, I said, let's make it so that they can say paperless so that that bill doesn't actually print out. You don't have to waste the postcard, you don't have to waste the ink, and you don't have to accidentally put postage on it and mail it back to yourself. Okay.
I like that.
That brings us to bills. So here is each customer's bill. All right. So like on their account. Okay. So each individual customer, you will see their individual bills when you get to their account. Okay. You can click on them and view those bills. So here's their account number, their usage, the from date, the to date, the readings, the due date, whatever the case may be, how much they owed. This is the front of the bill. This is the back of the bill. Okay. So you see that on each individual one, and you can hit the little print button and you can mail him his one bill that he needs today. Okay. If that be the case. Let me hop back. I love it when my back button works. It's my favorite. Oops. Okay. I didn't want you to work anyways. It's totally fine. Bills. All right. So you can see all of those. You'll see the blue trash can here. I can delete them. You will not be able to delete them. If you ever need to delete a bill for any reason, you'll have to call myself or Darla and we'll have to work on that on our side. Okay. So don't think you can accidentally delete a bill. You can't. All right. So then we get over to readings, and this is the screen where you can see each individual reading and whether it was billed or not. Okay. And again, you can click on that and go into it and see that reading. Well, in theory, IT must be working in there or something. I don't know. It just kicked me out. Story of my life. Readings. You can click into that and you can see that reading. I don't know why you would want to, but it's there in case you do. And then
Okay.
payments. And here's the screen that they can see their own payments. They can see that they made it. You can see that they made it and you can see how they made it. Okay. The history kind of shows it all to you. So here's the bill. Here's what they owed. Here's the next bill. Here's what they owed. Here's the payment where they paid it. And the fact that they had overpaid it. Here's the next bill. Here's the payment. Here's the bill. Here's the payment. Here's the bill. So again, you can click on those bills and again, it'll take you right to that bill and you can view it. And you notice that this one's different than the one I clicked on the last time. And then you just kind of go back. The back button takes you back to that. So the Rolodex down here at the bottom, let me move my Zoom screen so that I can see it. So on every single page of the account, it is exactly the same. So you roll over the little blue and it brings up for a Stripe payment. So if the customer had, or if you've turned on Stripe and the customer calls into your office and wants to make a Stripe payment, you're going to click this Stripe payment. It's going to tell you how much it is. You're going to say next, and you're going to say how you're going to make that payment. Okay. I'm going to get out of that because obviously we don't want to make a payment on that account. Charge. So here's where you would go to enter a charge such as an NSF check. So the check's been returned and now we need to add the charge back. We need to add an additional charge for the NSF check fee, or a shutoff fee or a reconnect fee or whatever the case may be. Here's where you go to add that charge. Here's where you would go to add a credit. So if your system allows for leak adjustments, or maybe we charged a late fee and we're going to give them a forgiveness on this one time. The check was in the mail and it just got lost and we're like, oh, okay, we'll adjust it this time, but never again. Like, be sure they're here on time. Whatever the case may be, you click in there and you can add your credit to the account. You can do your payment on the individual account from here if you want to. I think you'll find that you won't, and we'll go over that here in just a little second. But here it is. Reading is the same thing. So if you want to add a one-time reading for this account for one reason or another, instead of using your bulk insert, you can do it from here. Final billing. This one you probably would use when they go to move out. You would probably do your final billing from right here. To create a one-time bill for one reason or another, again, probably you're going to do this more often as a big whole batch, a big group. You're going to make everybody's bill at once. But if you needed to do it for one reason or another that it wasn't a final bill, you can do it from right here. The work order is still a work in progress. I'm going to go ahead and click on it so that you can see what that looks like. So the work order right now is just basically a blank piece of paper that lists the name, account number, and address. And then you would just type on it or print it out and write on it in this big blank area for what you want done. Right now, they don't save anywhere in the account. They don't really do a whole lot. It's just this blank piece of paper. I think there will be changes made to that as we go along, but right now it functions for what it is, and I don't hate it. I just think that my wish list is it'll get a little bit better. Okay. And then, of course, the redispersed payments. If you find that your payment was applied kind of wonky, you can redisperse them. So then back on this home screen of your account list, I forgot to go over, we went into the edit account. Here is where you can deactivate the account or make it suspended, suspended here or delete here. You won't be able to delete the account once there's account information in. So if I tried to delete Charles Allen's account, I wouldn't be able to do it. It wouldn't allow me to delete it because, well, he's got history out there. So then you would just deactivate him. Okay. So if he'd moved out of your system or whatever the case may be, you can only delete it before you've used it. So here's one, this Janet Bond, she is currently deactivated, which is why it turned gray. And then if we were to see a gray pause, that means that they're suspended. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now we're going to go to the next step here. So the actions tabs. So the change out meter, probably the first time you did it, maybe even every time you do it, depending on how often you do it. It's not super bulky, but it's going to step by step you're going to choose the account, you're going to say next, you're going to say, yep, this is the day that the meter reading changed. This is the final reading on the old meter. This is the reading on the new meter and the new meter serial number and blah, blah, blah. And then you will change out that meter. Okay. Not super hard. It pretty much walks you step by step through it. Probably you won't do
Right.
that very often. Bulk reading inserts or bulk insert readings. So depending on whether you have electronic meters or whether you have manually read meters, this process will look a little bit different. So again, this specific system has manually read meters. So we go over the blue little X down here, and when it pops up this download route list, we'll click that, and here is the route list that's going to go out to our readers. So it lists our customer name, their account number, the address to where their meter is. It has the meter sequence number so that if you had somebody moved in between Gary and Mike, you know which number to assign that to. The last reading on the meter, the expected reading on the meter, and then here is your blank to put your new reading on the new reading so that the operators will give that to you. I have had somebody ask specifically if we can have that with page numbers on it. And if you click minimum and you click headers and footers, that will give you your page numbers for that meter list. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you have electronic read meters, there will be another little icon that shows up here. You will click into it and it will say download import file, upload import file. When you download it, you'll send your meter readers out, they'll read your meters. They'll come back, you'll click on it again, you'll say import, and then it will actually fill in all of these fields for you. The reason that we have it to where it fills in the fields for you is because you'll notice that these fields do really great things. So in this one, it stayed black because it was what it thought it was supposed to be. It was in reason. This one turned red because it's not what the system thinks it was in reason. Again, that goes to the company settings where it's 20% above or below whatever the average is supposed to be. And then here it stayed completely blank and it turned red because it cannot be zero. It cannot be empty. Okay. So those are just visual cues that say, hey, something's wrong. Take a second look at this. It's not telling you it won't allow you to do it. It will allow you to do it, but it just is it's just a visual thing that says inspect a little deeper. Okay. So again, those get imported in here so that you can see any of those that turned red for you on a quick glance. Once you have all your bulk readings inserted, you'll come down here and you will say submit. Okay. Once you've submitted those, now we have our readings in. We're going to go out here and we're going to create bills. Again, this is a little wizard that's just going to walk you through the process. So the first thing is you're going to pick your bill date. The next thing is any of the notes that you had saved on the front of the bill or the back of the bill notes all month long, they have been imported. They're here for you. Okay. But here is just a check to make sure that everything is there that you want to be there. I love this function. You'll notice out here is bill notes front and back. It's a quick link to take you to that. And the reason for that is because all month long you think, oh my gosh, I want to put that on the back of the bill. Something come up and I want to put that on the back of the bill. Somebody was just in here complaining about the dogs pooping in their yard. I'm going to cite that, don't forget, we have a leash law and here's the ordinance and, whatever the case may be. I just want to stick that on the back of the bill for this month, or I want to stick my CCR on the back of the bill this month. When I'm doing billing, I'm not thinking about all of those things. So I update that all month long as I'm working through from my home screen. And then anything I've updated when I go to do create bills is there for me. Okay, I can see it. It's good. I'm like, oh yeah, good call. I didn't forget anything. Here it is. We're going to say next. So now the system is doing a check on the information and it's just running through any kind of issues that it might see, might think is necessary to look at. Once it's satisfied, we'll click next again. Here it's going to tell me no errors were detected. That's cool. Let me tell you, there's going to be some warnings. And the reason I know there's warnings is because everybody is a zero usage because I didn't actually put readings in, right? So I know that because I'm fake doing things, right? So this is our fake bills. This is the pre-billing. Take a look at this before you go ahead and finalize your bills. All right. So your total due, your usage on every single customer is showed up. You can click on that line and it will expand it. So here their previous balance was 62.33, water charge 19.63, sewer charge 26.07. They have a single trash tote for 15.50 and they're going to charge 49 cents for their Missouri state sales tax. All right. Um, so we've gone through this. It's all looking pretty good. We found this one, and for one reason or another, this $368.82, that seems really off. Something's wrong. Let me go take a look at it. I'm just going to click the hyperlink on their name, and it's going to take me to that account. I can see everything that's gone on that account, the bills, the readings, the payments or lack thereof. It looks like that's the problem here. We keep creating bills, and he keeps not paying them. So that's it takes you to that account and you can kind of look and see what's going on. Once you're satisfied with that, you can just click that X and because it opened a whole new window for you. So then you can go back to your report and finish working through it. Once you're satisfied with everything on the report, you'll come down here and you'll click this next, and that will finalize and create your bills. I'm obviously not going to do that because, again, this system would call me and do all kinds of screaming because they didn't really want bills again this month. Once I've created the bills, I will come out here and I will say, okay, now it's time for me to print my bills. So you'll notice that these are all the bills that they've ever created. Okay, these are the batches of the bills. So on 11/2, they created some bills. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to say, yep, let's print those. It does take a little bit to print those because it's a massive amount of knowledge of information that goes on these bills. So here is what our bills look like. Okay. So it's got your return address, it's got the stamp here, or your postage permit number, depending on what is relevant for your system, the account number, the amount of usage that they used, the from date, the date that it's due, the from reading, the through reading, and then you see the different readings. Okay, so they have those meter readings on there, the total amount that's due, their account number, and then what individual charges there were there, and then their address. Okay, so our cards are completely blank. The only thing that's special about them is the perforated lines. So there's 4 perforated lines to separate the 4 postcards, and then there's a perforated line right here to go through that the customer should return the little portion that has their name and account number on it. And then they should keep the portion that shows their usage so they can always have that in their records. I know that's like what we intend, but some customers just do whatever they want. Some don't send you the stub back, some send you the whole thing. Whatever the case may be, when it was designed, that's its designed intent, right? And then you have the back of the bill. This specific billing cycle, they didn't do a front of the bill note and they didn't do a back of the bill note. They just left them empty. And that's fine. When you go to print your pages, you just say print the odd pages only. And now all of a sudden my file is just the fronts and the fronts and the fronts, and I don't have the backs. Okay. So again,
All right.
totally however it is set up for you. So I do want to talk a little bit about our postcards. So our postcards, we order them a pallet at a time. We, as in MRWA, orders them a pallet at a time. We do this so that we get them at the very best cost that we can possibly get them at. We get them at a bulk rate. So they are $65 a ream, and that's 2,000 billing postcards. We bring them to you kind of as needed. We usually bring a case at a time. So 4,000 billing cards at a time, unless you're a really, really tiny district, and then we'll just do the 2,000 at a time. Okay. And the reason for that is because we don't want you to have to store it. In case of fire, in case of flood, in case of sun damage, in case of change in office administration, and now all of a sudden we knew we had these cards and we paid for these cards, but we don't know where these cards are. Whatever the case may be, we don't want you to have to buy them a pallet at a time and store that to get the very best price, and then you get stuck with all this postcard paper that you didn't really need. So what we do is we buy it and we get that good price, and then we pass that good price on to you. Okay. So,
Okay.
the other thing that we found that it did is it put us in your office more often. So basically, when you need postcards, you send myself or Darla a message that says, "Hey, I did billing this month, and by next month, I'm going to need more card stock." And I'll say, "Okay, I'll send out a message to all of the circuit riders and see who can get to you within the next month. Okay, please give me that month notice." But yes, I will send it out to the guys and see who can get to you. Okay. And then that brings them into your office. And we found that that open communication has been so beneficial because the guys will bring your postcard in. By guys, I mean our circuit riders will bring the postcards in and say, "How are things going? How'd your lead inventory go? Do you need help? Do you need smoke testing done? What is it?" All of the services that we offer that are free services, or even the mapping or the billing software, we'll come in and we'll talk about it and see if that's something that you're interested in, and if you would like to move forward with that. So it just kind of bred that relationship between us and you a little bit firmer. And so the circuit riders have asked if we could keep that going for as long as possible. Now, if we ever grow too much, it may stop and we may get to where we would have to mail that postcard paper to you, and then you would just have the freight cost additionally. I don't see that happening anytime in the near future, but the potential is always there. All right. So after that, you print your bills. Now we're ready to basically put payments in. We've mailed our bills out. So right here on the home screen is the add a payment button. You choose your account, you choose how they paid, okay? The amount that they paid. And if it was a check number, a money order number, whatever the case may be. In fact, if you choose cash, it's just notes. If you choose check, it lists the check number for you. Okay. And then the date. And then you can save and add another, and it'll bring it back blank where you can choose another account. Okay. So that's right there on the home button because you're going to use it all the time. It's also in this
Right.
list for add a payment. I don't think people use it from the add a payment because it's right here handy on the home screen. But hey, you do you. Now we've sent out bills, we've put some payments in, we've done all of that. Let's talk about the reports. So how do we get our information out for our accounting guy or our auditor guy or or our board members? Okay. So now we're going to talk about reports. So the first report you see is the account deposit report. This is your meter deposits. So probably every year when you have your audit, your auditor wants to know how much money is in my deposit account. This is the report you're going to run. This is the report you're going to give them. Okay. As you refund money out of that deposit account, it will go away. You won't have that money in that deposit account no more. It will just update. Okay. The accounts report is basically your account balance report. Probably we need to just change that to account balance report because that's mainly what this report is. So you can run it on active, suspended, or inactive. I usually do it on active. I generate that report. Now it gives me my customer, their address, and what they owe me. Okay. I usually click this, the word balance, and it brings my big balances to the top because that's what I care about the most. Who's in the hole the deepest to me, right? The other thing you can do is click it again. And now who am I in the hole deepest to? This brought up anybody who's overpaid me. Okay. So when you print that report based on what you have selected here, when you hit print, it will print it in that order. So here I would only print the one page because these are the amount of people that have overpaid me. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to put the people who still owe me a whole bunch. I always ran this report on shutoff day so that I would go down and I would only print the first, well, in this instance, several pages here. Good gravy. Okay, so we're going to print to page 14 because that's the end of who owes me, right? So then all of these are overpaid. They must have just done billing. We also proved they don't shut people off, so it could be that. So anyways, that's your account. That's your account in the hole to you report, okay? Again, you can run it on inactives and suspendeds. So this is anybody who's inactive that either they're in the hole too or they owe us money. Okay. That list is a whole lot smaller, thankfully. All right. That's the accounts report. Now we're going to talk about the daily deposits report. So the daily deposits report is what we're going to run when we're ready to go to the bank. So this system is kind of a part-time system. So I'm going to run it the 4th through the 8th and hopefully come up with some. Nope, I'm not. I'm going to go maybe the 1st through the 8th. No. All right, girl. When did you work last? Let's do the 23rd. There we go. Now we got some monies. So October 23rd through November the 8th. Here is the amount of money that we collected in cash. Here is the amount of money that we collected in money orders. Here is the amount of money that we collected in checks. And here's the amount of money we collected in ACH. And here is the total amount of money that I deposited into the bank. Okay, so this report is just what you're going to use to fill out your bank deposit slip. Okay. The one that you will run in conjunction with that, and I think we found that, October the 23rd to today, will generate that same report. So again, it breaks down your cash, your money order, your check, your ACH, but it tells you this is how much went into the water account. This is how much went into the sewer account. This is how much went into the trash account, sewer connection fee, sales taxes, late fee, primacy fee, balance from the old system, and undispersed. Now I'm going to stop here and talk just a little bit about the undispersed because that's a common question that we get. So undispersed means that the customer has overpaid on their account. They owed you $75. They gave you a $100 bill and they said, apply it to my next bill. That's fine. That shows up on an overpayment on their account. However, the system says, I don't know what to do with this money. I can't tell you what account that you're going to deposit it into because they don't owe you any money on any account that needs a deposit, right? So the system says, well, you're just going to hold that in your desk drawer until you have a place to stick it. We all know that that's not how it happens, right? We have to say, well, we're going to put it in an account somewhere. What account are we going to put it in? So when it's little amounts, we tell you to always just use one flush account. So if they overpaid you a couple of dollars, always take it out of your sewer account. If they've underpaid you a couple of dollars, always stay in your sewer account. So either make it your water account or your sewer account or your trash account, whatever the case may be, just make sure you always use the same account. That is not the case if your customer comes in and hands you $500 and says, I don't want to see your face for the next couple of months. Okay. Now you say, okay, well, what is their average bill? Their average bill is this, I'm going to divide that by this $500 and I'm going to put this amount into the water and this amount into the sewer and this amount into the sales tax and this amount into the whatever. I don't know for certain how your current system does that. What I have seen is a lot of systems automatically flush that into the water account. That is wrong because essentially, when the bills came through, they didn't just owe on water, right? So now you've put $500 chunk into the water account, but when the bill came through and we billed them the next time, they owed on water and sewer and trash and taxes and all of the other things. So when it's the big monies like that, it does take a little bit of work on your part to move that undispersed to the right fund. And I usually just made myself a plus and I said, okay, plus $50 or plus $20 or plus whatever, so that you had a record of where you moved that undispersed money to. Okay. Does that make sense to you?
Mhm.
Yes.
Very good. Very good. And then here's the total amount that again went to the bank, right? So those are the two reports that we recommend using when you're doing your deposits to go to the bank. Your fees collected reports, we'll go back to October because we know that she's not collecting anything in November yet. And we'll generate that report. That's no good. She didn't collect anything. There we go. So she collected, she billed $960.96 of primacy. She collected $911.95. She still had outstanding $49.01. Okay. So that's what that report looks like. I'm not sure where that's going to come in handy at this moment, but I'm sure eventually it will. The final billing report I printed every single month after I created my bills. And I laugh because literally it happened so many times that I was like, why do I not just do this? I don't know. So the one day that people come into your office and say, hey, I don't remember how much my water bill is, but I want to pay it, is the one day that I never had either electricity or power. Okay. And it's because they were sitting at home and they didn't have electricity or power either. So they were bored. So they would come to my office. But as it turned out, because they didn't have it, I didn't have it either. So I would always just stare at them like, I don't know how much your water bill is. So now, after I created my bills, I always just printed this report and I just had it in the file cabinet behind me so that if they ever came in while I didn't have power, I could say, oh, Tammy, look, you owe me $103.70. Okay. And then at the end of the year, I would just get rid of those because I didn't need them. The system will keep them forever and for always. So again, this is Charles Allen, and he used 980 gallons in the month of November. So we're going to go back to the month of September and run that report again so that you can see that it stays September 30th. And Charles Allen here this month used 1840. Okay. So the report is always there for you. You don't ever really have to print it unless you're going to have a customer that comes and asks you and you're not going to know the answer because you don't have power or electricity. Okay.
All right.
All right. We're going to skip the payment disbursement report at the moment because we're still working on making it fine-tuned for everything. I'll go ahead and run it so you can see it, maybe, essentially. It's a new report that we've found so that you can see how those payments were dispersed on each individual account. And we're just working through the process of how that really looks. And of course, I shouldn't have clicked the button because it's kind of mad. It's one of those that takes a long time for it to pull. I should have
Right.
narrowed my dates down a little bit more. Let me see if I can get out of it. Yeah. Okay. But it will show you on those individual payments. I wish I knew what day she had done. This system doesn't work every day. They're kind of part-time. Yeah. Darn it. Anyways, it shows on each individual customer how that money was dispersed so that you could see what went to the water account, the sewer account, the trash account, if that makes sense. The
Yes.
tax liability report is what you will run to do your 53-1, whether it's quarterly or annually or whatever the case may be. So in this one, I'm going to go all the way to the beginning of January and run it through November. So here is the amount of total water sales that they had. Here's the total amount that was non-taxable sales. Here's the sales tax that was billed. The sales tax that was billed for non-taxable, I'm guessing. The Missouri sales tax, and then the other Missouri, the commercial sales tax, and the non-taxable commercial sales tax. So this report you will run and you will fill in your 53-1 with it and you will love it. You will be like, oh, look, it's all right there handy for me. The transaction report is a keyword report. So in this one, you will just pick a term and you will generate that report. And we'll go back to October and generate it again. All right, so here's all the accounts that late fees have been applied to in that month. Okay, because I looked for the word late. Let's try adjust and see if they've done any adjustments. Okay, so here's one that they did a one-time forgiveness adjustment on. So on your adjustments, we tell you to find one word that you put in always, no matter what. If it's going to be adjustment or write-off or credit or whatever the case may be, so that you can find all of those, run that report for the whole year, because your auditor is going to want that report for any kind of adjustments you made. Make sure you use the same word and then say whatever note you want to say. Okay, that's where that report is. The report for system usage report, that is something that we use. That is not a report for you. You won't find useful information for it for you. We use it so that we can see what kind of information you're using in the system so that we can see those clicks and things like that. Okay. Delinquency is the notices out there, that template that I showed you earlier in the setup. So here's where you'll find those delinquencies. On the delinquencies, this is the information that kind of auto-populates for you, and then it's whatever you have that letter to say. So you can print those either selected or all. If we click and say print all, you'll notice that the first one comes up and it's for Pete Tanner for $71.23. The next one comes up for Charles Allen's for $69.49. So again, it's just going to print all of your accounts with the information, with the hot tickets that we've told it to print there. Okay. So again, those come in really, really handy for lots of different things, in my opinion. So the very last thing we're going to talk about is the messaging. So if you decide to turn your messaging on and you send out those invitations and you have customers sign up for those messagings, here is where it will save those messages. So in this instance, we can take a look at this one. We sent Courtney Barlow a text message at 12:45 on November the 3rd that says, you have a new bill from Delta. Click here to view it. She got the message, okay? We think she hasn't opened it yet and she hasn't clicked on it yet, okay? I love this function down here on these messages because you can see when they do something with it. So here's Sherry. Hello, Sherry. So this one came out again, 7:25 on 11/7, which was just last night. We said, hello, Sherry, tap the button below to get started with your account. Create your account right here. This was the invitation. So here on 11/7 at 7:26 at night, she did open that message. She did not click the link to create her account yet, but you'll be able to see that, you as the clerk, because then when they call you and say, I never got that email, you can say, yeah, girl, you did. Or you can say, yeah,
Right.
I don't show that you did click on it or did open it. Maybe it went to your spam. Try looking in your spam or troubleshoot it that way. You have this information at your fingertips, okay? And all of your messages are stored here for you. Okay. So they go back for forever and forever and forever. You can see all of those messages. If you wanted to send a message, you go into the messaging and you click the little green plus sign and you will select your accounts. If you want to do all subscribed accounts, you will do all subscribed accounts via email. Okay. You will choose the date and the time. Okay. This comes in really handy if you're doing something like a community event, like maybe you're going to have Christmas in the park and the tree lighting ceremony is going to be November the 23rd. You want to send that out on November the 21st at 4 o'clock in the morning. Do whatever you want, man. Don't make us no difference. You'll set that time, that date, that time. You'll do the subject. And then in your email body, you can have anything, pretty much anything you want. Okay. If you switch this over to text message, it changes it a little bit. Again, you can do all subscribed accounts because again, text message is different than email. They sign up for one or both or neither, right? So you can do all subscribed accounts. You'll set that time and date again, and you'll enter your message. You do have a lot fewer characters that you can use in the text message form. And I think, and I don't remember how many characters it is, but I think it kind of tabs you out. It just says, nope, you've reached your limit. Or if you wanted to do just one, so hey Jackie, you're late, get in here and pay your bill or we're going to shut you off tomorrow. You can do that too. Or if it's a Boyle advisory and you want to do selected accounts, so Jeffrey lives in that and Chad lives on that road and Mary Jo lives on that road. Hey guys, we're under a boil advisory for your area. Please boil your water and don't forget to dump your ice out of the ice maker. Okay. You can do all of that from right here. Now, the thing I do want to say is don't forget these text messages stay forever and for always. So if you're using that just for funsies, remember I can always see it. Okay.
All right. Careful what you send.
That's right. Careful what you send. Don't flirt with your boyfriend and think I won't notice. I will, and it will embarrass me and you both. Okay?
Got it. Don't make eye contact anymore.
All right. So that is all I have for you. What kind of questions do you have that maybe I haven't answered as of yet?
Well, you answered honestly a lot of them. I did want to know what the cost of Stripe would be.
It is free to the system, so you don't pay for it. It has a convenience fee to your customers of 4%.
Okay, 4%. Perfect. And if we would switch, what's usually the turnaround time? I know you said you get the accounts pretty well uploaded quickly depending on how clean it is. But if we decided to switch and go with subs, how long does that process usually take?
That is driven specifically by you. So I have I have systems that switch and they're up and going in 2 days. And I have one system that switched to subs 2.5 years ago and she still hasn't done anything with it. Okay. So it is specifically driven by how hard you want to work on it. So let me talk a little bit about the process. So again, it is important that I say, is it do it to me right now? Wrong button. I want this button. So I can upload all of your customer account numbers, names, addresses, and phone numbers, okay, that you give me. You will then have to enter your rates, enter your taxes, enter your fees, and go to each one of those accounts and choose the right thing for those accounts. Okay.
Okay.
That will take the most amount of time and you have to do it. We don't have a way to import it all at once right now. Because we want you to get familiar with the system. And we find that if we don't force your hand to poke around in it a little bit, you don't.
Right.
So,
if it's done,
right
nobody's
now,
going to go looking.
yeah, right now, that is our best. That is the most time consuming thing. So depending on the amount of time that you're willing to commit, depends on how long it will take you to get going and how many customers you have. You know, if you have 650 customers, it's going to take you longer than it is for somebody who has 80 customers. So it depends on that that also, right?
Yes.
But
That makes-
typically, the typical person is about a week and a half to 2 weeks. Start to finish.
Okay. Perfect.
Do you have
And then,
electronic meters or do you manually read your meters?
we do have electronic. I think there might be one or two that they still read manually.
And what meter company is it?
So we use Neptune, and I've
Neptune.
seen them on the list. That was going to be one of my questions.
Yes. Yeah. So I have an interface with Neptune. We have several systems already that are using it.
Perfect. And with the Stripe, like we currently have a card processing machine in office. The Stripe, would we enter all that payment information online? I'm assuming then,
Yeah.
or through the entertainment. Okay. So there'd
Yep.
be no
You would do it
machine
through the
here.
interpayment. You would be able to get rid of that card processing machine.
Perfect. Awesome. Let's see. So I do have Brenda here. She's been listening and she's going to be a part-time city clerk with me. I'm going to, do you have any questions regarding that, Brenda?
You just got most of them right there, the fee for Stripe. And then the only other question I had was back when you were talking about the reports, and you said you'll have to categorize that yourself between sewer, water, or the overpayments. That still gives them credit on their bill, correct? Okay.
Yes. So you can see on these accounts when I did the report for the accounts report, you can see all of these people. There's only 3 in this system that have overpaid. Yes, they have overpaid on this account. They have a credit on their account. But when they went to deposit the money into the bank, they had to say what fund that was put into.
Right, right. Okay. That was the only thing that just popped in my mind. I assumed that, but I thought I should ask.
Sure.
Oh, is there a report? So we currently, when we run our final bills, we'll get a report for the security deposit refunds. I know there was a report for the security deposits there, but would there be something like that so we know exactly who gets the refund and what it would be?
Not exactly.
Okay,
So
we would just
do
have to
you
keep track of who we
do
final
you do
bill.
all your final bills at the same time that you're doing your billing, or do you do them in the middle of the month when they move out?
They are all done at the same time with billing.
Okay. Yes, no, I don't have anything because for us what we do is go into the account and do the final bill from there. And I suppose if you did that before you did your billing and you final them out individually, like when you do your final billing, okay, today's the final billing. Here's the reading. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, that's what our reading's going to be. Here's the stop being mean to me. Invalid reading. Please correct. It doesn't like what I'm putting. Fine. 1, 2, 5, 5, 3, 4. All right, that's going to be our final reading. We're going to say next. Here's what our final bill is going to look like. This action is irreversible. You'll not be able to go back and edit it. It's saying this is the amount that's going to be due. Here, the next screen,
Okay.
it's going to apply that deposit. Okay, so here it says, do you want to apply the $125? Yeah, you do. And then you'll update the status and print the bill. Now, we're
Okay.
gonna
So we
not
could
do
do that just as, but that could be done as it happens. I know a lot of customers request that. We just haven't done it. So
Yeah.
that would be, really take that.
Easy.
Yeah.
That's the easy way.
Okay. Well, that works. Perfect. All right. I don't believe I have any more questions. Brenda, are you good too?
I'm good, yes. I like
I do too. Yeah. We both really like this, so we
my
got to
third day, so I'm
talk to
like,
the board. Yes, this is her third day, and again, she's enjoying the new, or your guys' subs. For both of us, it seems like it would be very easy,
User-friendly.
self-explanatory,
Mhm.
user-friendly, yes.
Very good. Well, Brenda, welcome. Welcome to the fun. Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, no,
Awesome.
I will, as we end the Zoom, I will email you over a copy of the resolution that if the board decides to go with us, that we would need signed and sent back. So once we get that back, we will be able to get you set up and moving. If you decide not to go with us, if you interview somebody else and you're like, oh no, that company's a better fit for us, don't worry, there's no hard feelings. You'll still have all the same love and attention that you've had from MRWA forever and for always. Okay. We don't find it offensive if you find somebody better than us. Because every system has their own individual needs, right? So if I don't click all your
Right.
boxes, that's okay. There's no hard feelings. But I will get you emailed over that resolution, and if I get it back, we'll look forward to working with you. Typically I say that when I send you that, when I get the resolution, I will email you and ask you for your Excel file if you've got one. And then if you want to schedule myself and Darla to come and help in any way, getting things moving forward, or if you want to do it all by yourself, that's all fine for us too. You are the driver of how it works for you.